first DIY, I'm going to be using these ornaments that I picked up from Dollar Tree. I also grabbed this Jingle Bell garland and these faux cinnamon sticks. The faux cinnamon sticks did come from Hobby Lobby, and these greenery pieces that were also from Dollar Tree. Now we are going to take our cinnamon sticks, and again, these are not real cinnamon sticks. These are crafting cinnamon sticks, and we are going to open up this package because we are going to create some really cool decor that you can use on your plates for Christmas or for those upcoming holiday dinners. Now, I've got 12 of them in total because my table setting is for 2 people, and I'm going to create some little bundles with these. Now, what I'm doing is taking 6 cinnamon sticks and we are going to tie those together. For my ribbon options, I have this black and white with the snowflakes in the red, or this just black and red one. I went with the black and red one. Tell me if you think I should have gone with the other one. I'm going to just tie these off, and then we are going to add our greenery pieces. Now, my greenery pieces are a little long, and I did want something to kind of stick out on either side like this. So we're just going to trim these down. I'm going to take my lineman pliers, and we're just going to snip right through this wire. Now, if you don't have lineman pliers, these are something that like electricians apparently use a lot, and they have a really good cutter. They have a really good grip with them, and they're super, super easy to use. I have them linked in my Amazon store, but you can find them at Home Depot, Lowe's, places like that. So go ahead and cut down your greenery pieces to whatever size you need. And then we're going to kind of do a combo here. We're going to add a little bit of hot glue, put it on the back of those pieces, and kind of let them just kind of hold them in place. And then we are going to kind of tie off a knot in the middle here with our ribbon. Now, before we kind of finalize that ribbon with a big fancy bow, we are going to take our garland here, our bell garland, and we're just going to wrap a couple inches of this around the center here. And then we're going to add our snowflake ornament tied off. You've got the cutest bundle. I love this so much. I think it would be fantastic sitting on a dinner plate. We've got some reindeer ornaments that I picked up from Dollar Tree. I also have this great sheet of scrapbook paper. It's double-sided, but I loved this plaid. I also had this Dollar Tree magnet, and I thought it would be really, really cute to create something that was a cool ornament for the refrigerator, because why not decorate every single room of the house, including the kitchen? And you're going to have your coffee bars, you're going to have things set up, but you've got to have something on the refrigerator. I'm going to take my scrapbook paper here, and we're literally just going to wrap our magnet. Now, we're going to wrap it on all of the sides except for where the magnet part is, because obviously we want that part to be able to stick onto the refrigerator. So trim down your scrapbook paper, make it work to where it's kind of wrapped around the actual magnet itself without covering that magnetic portion that's on the back. Hopefully visually you see what I'm doing here, and I don't know if it's making so much sense when I'm talking about it, but that's what we're going to do. Now, for this ornament, we're going to kind of take it apart. It's got some different little pieces on it that I personally don't want to keep on mine. We're also going to remove the hanger part of the top of the kind of reindeer's head there. And now we're going to start painting it. I am using my ink Waverly chalk paint, and anything that's got glitter on it, I love to paint it, especially with something that I'm wanting it to have kind of like a metallic look to it. This paint always adheres really well to anything with glitter, and it's gonna almost give it a very cool metallic look because it looks very textured. Now, I am going to go ahead and dry that. Take out your heat gun. Heat gun's the best thing in the world. Now, I'm really going to amp up that metallic look because we're going to add some rub and buff to it. I bought this cute little kind of rub and buff starter set on Amazon, and I was able to get 4 different colors. I'm just going to use the gold, and then we're going to go in a little bit with some of the black, and we are going to create this very kind of cool metallic, kind of vintagey looking reindeer head. You could do this with the larger reindeer head ornaments that they have at Dollar Tree as well. Once you've got that painted, simply just glue it down and you've got the cutest ornament for your refrigerator. How simple is this? I love the way this looks, and I think that this could be even something very cool for the man cave. Now for this next DIY, we're going to take this laundry sign that I picked up from Dollar Tree. I have these unfinished wood trees that I picked up from Joann's, etc. that we're going to use, and then also some scrapbook paper that I've had on hand. We are going to take those knobs off of this laundry sign. They're great. There's little screws there. Just grab a little screwdriver and remove those. For our laundry sign, I'm just going to paint the edges all around our sign. I'm using Waverly Antique, or this is Waverly's ink. Chalk paint. And then for the green trees, I'm using an Arteza paint. I believe it's called a Forest Green. And this is just one of their acrylic paints. And we are going to paint our trees because we've got to have some green trees, especially pine trees. I think that's what these are anyway. And we're going to get these all painted and ready to go. Now that laundry sign, we are going to cover that with our scrapbook paper. So I am using the Elmer's purple glue stick. I did get this at Dollar Tree, by the way. It's in the school supplies section. I love working with the Elmer's glue. I love especially this purple stick because it's very easy to tell where you are getting glue. And then our scrapbook paper was not quite long enough, so we are just going to cut a little piece here and just kind of match up the patterns. And now we're going to poke holes back through that paper because we are going to add our knobs back on there, because remember, we are creating a very cool stocking hanger, and we have to have a place to put the stockings. Now the knobs, I did paint those black, and now I'm taking the trees and I'm kind of trimming away some of the excess. Now I'm doing that for 2 different reasons. One, I messed up, and the other thing is that it actually kind of turned out and worked out the way it should have been, because I needed something to help kind of keep this away from the wall. Now, this is going to make sense when you see where I end up gluing this, because I am adding some hot glue, and you see me gluing kind of parts of the trunk there, and we are going to stick this onto the back of our sign, kind of like so, because I didn't really like how tall the trees were, and if you think about the way that those trees are being applied to the back there, you're going to have a piece that kind of sticks out a little bit. You can see kind of right here. So now those little pieces where I trimmed those, we can put those and glue those down onto the back of our sign. And then that's going to help the sign when it needs to kind of lay flat up against the wall. Because in this case, we're pretending that maybe you don't have a place to hang stockings. Now I have the white glue stick from Shore Bonder in my little mini glue gun here, and we are just adding some snow caps to the trees. And then for the back of this, we added a very simple picture hanger, and you've got the cutest little stocking holder. I love the way that this turned out. This was definitely inspired, by the way, by Shannon over at the Daily DIYer, so definitely check out her channel if you have not seen her. Of course, I'm sure you know who she is. Now this next DIY is pretty easy. This again is going to incorporate scrapbook paper, my favorite thing ever. This picture frame that you can pick up at Dollar Tree is really, really cool. What's great about this too is that it does have screws on it as well. So you can easily remove this. If you can pick up that small, tiny little screwdriver set from Dollar Tree, it will become your best friend, by the way. So if you don't have that on hand, definitely look for that when you go into the store next time. It is a game changer, especially with all of these small items that have these tiny little screws. Now, once you removed that frame, go ahead and definitely put it aside where you can get to it later on, because we are going to be bringing it back. And then we're bringing out the trusty glue stick again, the Elmer's purple glue stick, and we are just going to cover this with our glue stick because we are going to very easily cover this entire thing with a piece of scrapbook paper. And all you have to do is trace the scrapbook paper. Trace it out, cut it out, glue it down, and you are good to go. And what's great about this is that scrapbook paper that I chose, it already goes with the black frame that was there and also the black base that's there. So this is going to be the perfect color combo. Now, if you wanted to paint this, you certainly could because these MDF pieces, obviously they paint up really easy. The frame is metal, so you could definitely paint that. Totally up to you. We are going to use 4 of these small diamond mirrors and 2 of these kind of larger size diamond mirrors. Also, I'm going to be using a piece of foam core that you see down below underneath the mirrors. The first thing you're going to want to do is start taking the plastic off of everything. And then you're going to want to eventually remove these hangers from the backs of your mirrors. You can either do this one at a time, kind of like I'm doing, or you can do them all at one time and then you'll be ready to start prepping. Now, my glue gun there was not loaded, so of course now I have to load my glue gun. But in the meantime, I'm going to kind of show you what we're going to be doing. I'm going to be taking 6 of these mirrors and we're kind of forming a snowflake. Now, these mirrors actually do not come perfectly together, and that's part of the reason why I'm using the white foam core backing, because that's going to help disguise that. Now, the foam core backing is also going to help us make this mirror nice and sturdy, so you can use this for a variety of different reasons. Now that we've got our gun ready to go with the glue, let's go ahead and glob a bunch of hot glue on the back of this. You are literally going to put a ton of hot glue because you want this mirror to stay on that foam core backing. Now, if you're going to put this like outdoors or maybe if you live in a more humid climate, then I would definitely use something stronger like an E6000 or E6000 Quick Hold. I'm in Georgia. This is going to be actually something that's going to be indoors, and I think that this hot glue is going to be perfectly fine because the cardboard backing and the hot glue, it's going to be fine. Now, I'm starting to put some hot glue on here, and then you'll see that I go, whoopsie, I've got to remove those backings. That's why I suggested at the very beginning to go ahead and remove all of those hangers off of the back of it. And the reason why we're doing that really is just so you've got a nice flat contact with the cardboard and with the foam core. The mirrors are actually really, really light, which is great because there's not a lot of weight that's going on this foam core. And you'll be surprised really how light this mirror really is. So after you've got those in place, then you're going to just continue to repeat that same exact process, and you are going to remove the hangers. Sometimes they come off a little harder and sometimes they come off a little easier. Just depends on I guess who was working on the assembly line at that time. And you are just going to start to add tons and tons of glue. I am using Surebonder's all-purpose glue here, and it is perfect for this. Again, just putting on a ton of glue just so you have really good contact with the cardboard and with the foam core. Now, when you get to the point where you're going to be doing the lower part of your snowflake mirror here, you are going to add more hot glue onto that longer piece. The longer pieces are kind of what are the main points, the top point and the bottom point. Think of the mirror that's pointing north and the mirror that's pointing south. Those are the larger mirrors. And then the 4 smaller mirrors that flank the side, those are the ones that I'm using. So I'm putting down the south-facing mirror, we're going to call it, and I'm just lining it up with the point of the north mirror. Now, you would think that this would make kind of the perfect kind of notch there for those other diamond-shaped mirrors, but they don't go in there perfect. And I don't know if that's just a Dollar Tree thing, a design flaw. I'm sure that these aren't exactly the same exact measurements, but as you can see, they're pretty close. And so you are going to now, once again, repeat this process. You're going to remove those hangers from the back. You're going to add a ton of hot glue, and then you are going to start to glue those into place. And here I'm going to go and be proactive and just remove all of the hangers from this mirror as well before I start gluing these down. And then like I said, same exact process. Just put down a ton of hot glue and then just glue it right onto the paper. Now, the great thing about this is once you've got this all set, I would let it sit for, I think I let mine sit for about 20 minutes, and then I went and grabbed something to eat. I came back and then I took out my blade. This is a blade from a company called Slice, and it has a ceramic tip. It's easy to cut through foam core, and I really love working with this. And it did cut through the foam core really nicely. Now, you're going to take your time and want to go around your mirror, around all the points, and get them as close as possible. And what I've been doing is taking my slice knife here, and I'm going in at a slight angle. That way, I'm not getting a lot of pieces that I'm going to have to go back and trim afterwards. The great thing about this is if you do have any of those pieces that you have to trim, it's not a big deal at all, because you can literally just go in and trim that with even a pair of scissors, because it's foam core and it's actually really, really easy to cut. Now that I have all my pieces of foam core cut away from my Snowflake, you can start to see how it's starting to take shape. It's nice and sturdy, and now we're going to address the center part. Now, these are a new find for me. I found these at Dollar Tree. It's a 6-pack of these pine stems, and I absolutely love these. You can get them in either silver or gold, and these are the ones that are flanked with a little bit of silver, which you'll start to see as they get a little closer to the camera. And what's great about these is that there's 6 of them in this package. Now, these stems are very hardy, which is great. I love them so much. I'm thinking about going back and buying a ton of these. Now, they are on a very sturdy wire, and you're going to take a pair of pliers or lineman pliers. I have my lineman pliers here, and I'm just going to cut the tips off of all of those stems, because I am going to want them to not be in the way of when I am gluing everything down. And I'm wanting everything to kind of come to a nice point in the center there. So now that I've got all 6 of these ready, I'm going to take some hot glue and, well, first I'm going to fluff them out just a little bit. And then I'm going to zoom in really awkwardly. And then I think we're finally going to get to the glue gun step. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be adding glue kind of in the channel there of the mirrors. And that's going to do 2 things. That's going to help hold that stem in place. And it's also going to help reinforce the mirror onto that foam core for any of that glue that might drip down in between those cracks. So, just like this, I'm laying down that first stem, and then I'm going to continue with the other stems in the other places. I'm going to overlap a little bit with the hot glue and try and overlap the stems in the center just a little bit, just so I have even placement throughout. And as I'm doing this, I'm literally just kind of pushing that stem down in all of that hot glue. And yes, I'm burning my hands just a little bit, but you'd be surprised how your fingers kind of get used to hot glue gun burns. It's not as hot as it used to be. And for the glue, just a tip on that: don't put it directly in just the channel of the mirrors. I would put it on the sides as well. That's what I did here. And it allows that branch or that stem to really adhere to the sides of the mirror. You know, some of that glue is going to drip down into that channel, and you may or may not get it all on that stem. So if you kind of zigzag it back and forth like you see me doing here, then that is going to be ideal, because you are going to have really good placement. And then, of course, there's glue strings and everything that happens with all this. But, you know, that's part of the process sometimes, right? So keep adhering your stems until you've got a snowflake pattern that looks like this. Now for this next part, I'm going to go ahead and embellish my mirror just a little bit. I have this great ribbon that's left over from Christmas from a couple years ago. I think I grabbed it at Walmart. And then I have this door hanger that I picked up during my last haul at Dollar Tree. And I love the black and the white bells. And I love, of course, that buffalo check ribbon. I'm going to actually detach this from the ring. And it's fighting me just a little bit. But I get out the scissors, and then I end up just cutting the ribbons directly away from the actual door hanger itself. They were wired on there really, really good. And now I'm just going to kind of place them and literally just put a glob of hot glue in there and use the point of my gun to just kind of squish it down there in between those pine stems. And I'm loving it. I'm really loving the way that this is looking. And again, I'm just kind of alternating those ribbons. The great thing about me cutting them from there is that they kind of already had some different lengths to them, and I just kind of alternated them, kind of like you see me doing here. And the glue, again, a little hot, but not too bad. Certainly workable. And, you know, I needed to get those ribbons in there to make sure that those bells didn't fall off. Now that I've got the bells all set up, I am going to start to attempt to make a bow. Now, I am not the best bow maker, so I typically do not show how to make a bow. However, if you want to go and look at a very cool bow tutorial, I highly recommend that you go look at Jennifer's video from A Little Bit of Common Crazy. She did a zip tie bow that is fantastic. I don't have any zip ties. So Jen, I'm going to be using that bow technique soon enough. But I kind of did my version of it and just used a lot of hot glue and a lot of Band-Aids and a lot of prayer. And I'm just kind of fluffing it up right now. And I'm really, really loving the way that this is looking. And the cool thing about this is that when it's all done, you've got this gorgeous snowflake looking mirror. You didn't even have to embellish it like this if you didn't want to. You could literally leave it the way it is. For that door hanger, I just taped it on the back with a little bit of glue, and you've got a fantastic snowflake mirror that cost me about $8 in total to make. All of this is from Dollar Tree, and I absolutely am in love with it. I guess the ribbon technically is not from Dollar Tree, but you could certainly get something very similar to it from there. I love this so much, and I'm so happy to bring this project to you guys today. We're going to be using 4 of these wooden signs that I picked up from Dollar Tree. These are from the Crafter Square section, and I'm just going to remove each one of these ropes. I am going to put them aside because we will end up actually using them again, but I don't want to get paint on them. So I'm just going to pull them off. They're attached with a very light staple for the most part. That one was a little tough. And we're just going to remove all of these. Now those tags from Dollar Tree, you could certainly remove those if you want to. I'm going to leave them on there just because I don't want to deal with my heat gun and trying to take those suckers out. But I am going to go ahead and remove all of these staples because I don't want them to stick me later on when I'm working on this project. So the next thing I did after I removed all of these staples was I took my planks outside and I spray painted them. I'm actually spray painting them with a metallic gold. I was going to use a white paint originally, but I didn't have a white paint that I actually liked. I bought a spray enamel by mistake, and I ended up just absolutely hating it. So I am just going to use this metallic gold, but I do end up taking a break midway through the day. I ran to Ace Hardware. I bought my favorite white spray paint. That's a white matte spray paint. And I'm going to use it for some projects in the future. Now, for these particular items, I am actually using my Cricut. But if you don't have a Cricut, don't worry about that because you can easily make these happen with any kind of sticker. Dollar Tree has so many different great stickers out there. You can easily recreate this kind of idea using paint, using paint markers. You can use Dollar Tree stickers or lettering. There's really so much opportunity and so many great ways to personalize this. So again, if you don't have a Cricut, don't worry about it. If you have great handwriting, by all means, grab a Sharpie marker or something like that and just write on these even. I'm telling you, don't let the fact that I have a Cricut machine deter you in any way in making your own version of these, because that's the greatest thing about doing DIYs, really. Now, after I'm done applying my labels, I am going to go ahead and just staple that twine right back on the back side of those. All I'm doing is just using my regular stapler and just going right through the twine on the back of these. These are going to be ornaments that are going to be hanging on my tree in my office. I actually have an office tree that I like to set up every year. And when it's all said and done, this is what it looks like. I think this is so cute. I added a Dollar Tree floral pick at the top as my star. And here's a close-up of the ornaments. I am so happy with this and love the way this little tree turned out. Now for this next DIY, I'm going into my fall stash and I'm going to be using 2 of these scarecrow signs. You could use any of these types of signs. Halloween signs would work also. I'm grabbing these clothespins on the twine. I'm going to use these instead of using just twine and regular wood clothespins. I had them on hand, so we're going to see how they work. I'm going to remove all of the twine from the back, and then I'm also going to remove these welcome signs. They come off really easily and you don't have to worry about it. The other thing I'm going to do is make sure that my 2 staple sides are at the same end. Not so important if you don't do that, so don't worry about that. Removing those staples was going to really kind of mess up that board and damage the board. Now, we're not going to use the scarecrow side, as cute as the scarecrow is, but we are going to still use that other side, that plain brown side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and line up my points, and then I'm going to take some popsicle sticks, and I may as well use these welcome signs as well, and we're just going to end up gluing these down. That way they hold our board together. And I am just going to add a very generous amount of hot glue here at the bottom, and then just work my way up all the way across, just making sure that the boards line up end to end, not necessarily the design, because we know how some of the Dollar Tree stuff can be. It can be rather inconsistent sometime, and just making sure that I have a solid sign that is the same length on either side. With this one, I lucked up. You can see that the scarecrow design doesn't exactly match up, but again, not a big deal for this particular sign. Now, if you can't find this sign, any of these long kind of rectangular signs, I just made up a word. Rectangular signs will work just fine. The beware signs, any of the Halloween signs that might be out now, you can totally use any of those. Now, once you've got everything braced together, go ahead and flip it over. My signs are bent a little bit. They're kind of bowed, so I'm going to hold my hand down in the center here, and I'm just going to bend this up just a little bit. Obviously, use caution if you're going to do this, because you could easily make these snap, and we don't want that to happen, especially when sometimes these signs are really hard to find, especially these longer signs. So once you've got everything set up, now you're going to get it prepared, and you're going to take it outside and spray paint it. Now, for me, I love some spray paint. However, if you want to use chalk paint, you can easily do that as well. I took my board outside and I did 2 light coats of my flat white spray paint. This is when I took my break and I went out and got this spray paint from Rust-Oleum, and I love this spray paint so much. This 2 times the coverage. It works really well. I still had to use a second coat for this, but that's also because I went really light. I didn't want to have or risk having a lot of the paint drips and things that sometimes happens, because I can be a little heavy-handed with my painting, and I just want to get it done like I'm in a hurry. So again, just kind of going over this, making sure that there were 2 even coats on this, so it looked nice and pretty when it was all done. And I was actually really happy with it when it was dry. I'm going to show you a little bit of a trick that I learned when you want to spray paint or paint your clothespins. Now, these are plastic clothespins that came with my set here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those clothespins, and sorry, it's a little off camera there. You'll start to see them in a minute here. But I am just going to take all of those clothespins, and what we're doing is just clipping them to a scrap piece of cardboard. This is actually the cardboard that these clothespins came in with the twine. I just removed them from the twine, and I'm clipping them to this little piece of cardboard, because I'm going to take these outside and I'm going to spray paint them. Or at least that's what I thought I was going to do. And you'll see in a little while that that was not the best plan. So now that my boards are dry, we've got this end here that has these staples in it. And I wasn't really concerned about removing those staples for a couple reasons, but also mainly because I couldn't find my staple remover thing. But instead, I am just going to cover that with some of this striped ribbon that I picked up from Dollar Tree. Now, I love using any kind of embellishment like this, and ribbon is an easy way. And just adding a little bit of hot glue and gluing that down, and then wrapping it. I'm making up my own words tonight. What's wrong with me? Wrapping it around the back edges will just make sure that it's nice and secure there. And what's also great about it is that if you have any little imperfections, like those staples, for example, this is a great way to just hide those. And that thickness of that ribbon actually just worked out really perfectly to my advantage. And I can't talk tonight, guys. All right, now I'm using this Merry Christmas sign. This is something that I also did on my Cricut. However, what I also think that you could very, very easily do is if you had access to stencils or any kind of Dollar Tree stickers or lettering, you could make this also. You could make your version of this and make this your own. Again, if you are a freehand painter and you are super talented, by all means, I am first of all jealous of you, but also go for it. Write it out. Or get a really cool stencil. Dollar Tree has some fantastic stencils. They also have some fantastic stickers that you could easily remake this with. So again, don't let the fact that I'm using a Cricut intimidate you by any means. Now, I also have something called transfer tape, and the transfer tape was a little aggressive on my weight paint here, so I am just going to use my Arteza acrylic paint marker, and I am just going to go through and just kind of try and repair this a little bit. I probably should have used like a chalk paint, because then repairing this would have been really easy. But believe it or not, I'm actually out of white chalk paint. Now, I've got the twine, and I've started wrapping it around the sign. And what I'm doing here is I'm taking just little pieces of my popsicle sticks that I've cut down, and I am using those to help glue and help hold the glue, or help hold that twine kind of in place, because I could just use the twine and glue it onto the back of the board itself. I could have also cut down the twine and then used a kind of zigzag across the front, but I really wanted this to have that feeling like it was completely wrapped around the board. So that for you is just a personal choice. I was able to use one piece of twine that came in the double package of clothespins. So totally, again, up to you, whatever your preference is. I'm fine with using the twine this way. Again, this is totally up to you, but what does really work well is adding that clothespin on top, or that clothespin. Good Lord, have I said that the whole time? That piece of popsicle stick on the back sides, because that really helps hold that twine in place as you're wrapping it around this sign. And don't worry about like doing it too tight or too loose, because it's going to actually work out perfectly. And as you can see here, it turned out really cute. And now the clothespins. The clothespins that come with the little package of twine are plastic, and they did not like Mr. Spray Paint. They did not like any kind of spray paint. So I went into my stash and just pulled out these little wooden ones. You could certainly paint these or dye these, but I actually love the way that they work with the twine. And now you've got a great Christmas card station. Anytime somebody sends you a Christmas card, you can just pin it to the board with the little clothespins. You could put family photos on here. You could maybe even create like a fun advent calendar and put a countdown to Christmas on here. There's a lot of really cool and fun things that you can do with this, and I love this. Now my next DIY, I'm going to use this wood plank. Now I did get this one at Michael's, but they do have wood planks that are almost the same exact size at Dollar Tree in the Crafter Square section. All you would have to do is just get some antiquing wax and then just go ahead and paint that up. I also had some of these metal tags and then these metal hooks that I picked up that have a magnet on the back. You could also get the eye hooks with the little screws that you can find sometimes in the hardware department. Either one will work perfectly fine. I'm going to go ahead and remove those staples from the board because they actually removed really easily. And now we are going to measure out these hooks as well as these metal tags. Now, these barely fit within this space, which is really good for me, because if it didn't fit, I was going to have to try and figure out something else for you guys. Now, I did kind of lay these out already, so I kind of have an idea of where I need to stick these magnets down. And I'm just going to glue these directly to the board. And as you can see, when the tag is hanging on there, it actually fits perfect, which is really, really nice. So I want to make sure that both of these tags will hang next to each other. So I'm going to go ahead and just take one of those hooks again. I'm going to add more glue on the back, and then I'm going to glue this one right next to its buddy there. That way you have the two tags that are hanging side by side. Do you guys have an idea what I'm doing yet with these? And by the way, those magnets and the metal, they're hot. So when you do that and you put some hot glue on there, just expect them to be a little warm. Now, I'm going to go ahead and remove those tags and get them out of the way. Now, yes, I'm using the Cricut again. However, once again, so many great sticker options at Dollar Tree. They have so many good selections of stickers and letters in the Crafter Square section right now. I'm blown away. And I honestly think that even if you took some Dollar Tree vinyl and you cut out some letters, you could easily make this and replicate this. Now, I also made some oversized letters or numbers, that I am also sticking to these metal tags here. And I could have used some transfer tape. I think I have some transfer tape trauma from the previous one. You may have seen how I almost lost my Y in the 25 days part that I was doing. So I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of try and carefully put these numbers onto these metal tags. And I'm going to just add them to the hooks. Now, the hooks and the twine back on there and everything I did like, but I thought that those kind of hooks were just kind of glaring at me a little bit. So I created another little sticker that I'm going to put over top of those, that kind of metal part there, those metal circles. These are just some cute little wreaths that I found on the Cricut Design Space. Now, again, you could easily replicate this with some stickers from Dollar Tree. I think it would even be fun to put some bling or something on there. There could certainly be a lot of ways to personalize this. And then the last thing I did was just take some embellishment. I actually took a Dollar Tree floral pick, added it to the top, and you've got a cute 25 days of Christmas countdown sign. Now, you could take a bunch of tags. You could number them 1 through 25, and you could make this an advent calendar for sure. Or you could just do something like this and count down the 25 days of Christmas, even though we're like a lot more days than that from Christmas.